Hello everyone, I'm just going to run through a quick review of the pfMonitor application. It's going to be from a home user perspective. In no way am I related to IT or computer science, anything in my professional life, and only started using pfSense or any sort of advanced routing or firewalling a few months ago. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. And a lot of this stuff is honestly over my head. But anyways, pfMonitor, great application for you to get a lot of correlation for what you'll see in your firewalls. If you're a user like myself, then you'll see a whole bunch of stuff showing up in your firewall once you start using something like pfSense, and it's not going to make a whole lot of sense to you. And I think that remains true even at a professional level, not because of a lack of understanding, but just seeing hits on your firewall. You need to know what they are, where they're coming from, and are other people getting the same kind of activity as you are. And that's what pfMonitor does. It takes all of your firewall data, not all of it, but the hits that you're getting, basically any rule that you've configured, and the automatic rules, the blocks that you're getting on your firewall are going to get sent over to pfMonitor, anonymized, and added to a database that right now has 28.5 million logs in it, coming from 103 devices, and those are coming from 11 users. I'm only contributing one of those, and I don't think this is showing me how many of my hits I've gotten, but probably something like 8,000, 1,800, almost 1,900 today. My logs have been contributed to the pool, and what this is doing is, when I get a hit on my firewall, or someone else gets a hit on it that looks like needs more attention, you can come into pfMonitor and see what else that has been showing up on, and that'll also pop up notes and links to news articles about different kind of threats that are out there. So even though this is meant for definitely a higher level user, it's a great tool for someone that's learning firewalling and is just interested in it, because it's going to expose you to the data and knowledge of a lot of people that are much better at this than you or I, if you're anything like me. So we'll just start scrolling through the pages here. This is the dashboard. It's what you'll get whenever you show up here. Obviously, you need to know how to set this up, and it's extremely easy. Best case is you just click this link, watch a YouTube video, and it'll show you how to do it. Basically, all you're going to do, though, you're going to highlight this, copy it. You're going to go log into your pfSense, go to your system logs, so status, system logs, then settings. Assuming you're already set up to log your firewall, then all you need to do, check send log messages to remote syslog server. Source address, just leave it as default any, unless you know what you're doing and have a reason to change that. Set it to IPv4 unless you also are set up to use IPv6, and you're going to paste that link from your dashboard right in here, just as it is, to include the port. Check system events, firewall events, VPN events, nothing else. Click save. That's it. You don't have to set up any firewall rules or anything, unless for some reason you are whitelisting your high ports and it blocked 6514, which is very unlikely. And then you would take your WAN IP address and feed it into pfMonitor admin panel, and it's going to start bringing in your logs. But again, just watch this video tutorial. It'll show you, it's 4 minutes long, I think, and it'll show you exactly how to do all that, but it's really not any more complex than what I just said. And if for whatever reason you are concerned about feeding your data somewhere else, syslog is a normal feature to use, but you can set up firewall rules to log that traffic, but it should not be a concern. ACL management and access control list, you can, I have not used this feature. There's a video tutorial will show you how to do it. It's also very simple. But you can set, you can leverage pfMonitor to set up access control lists that you can then sync with all of your firewalls. In my case, I only have one firewall, so there's not a whole lot of advantage to me. But there are several users on here that have, I think, over 50 firewalls. That this is obviously a huge feature for them. Check-in agent, this I do have set up. Again, video tutorial right there. It's quick and easy, show you how to set it up. But again, basically all you're going to do is run this fetch command on your firewall. You can do that in the web interface under diagnostics command prompt. Just paste that in, run the command. Then you put in a cron job to run every minute to run this line, and it's going to give you output for your system feed, like the version of pfSense you're running, your BIOS, CPU temperature, RAM usage, things like that. Which is, again, I threw it on there just to see what it was doing and how easy it was to set up, which is very easy. But I don't really need that because I only run one firewall. Proxy tools, I haven't messed around with those at all. This is the author and owner of this system, and his contact information. He is on the pfSense forum and has posted an entire thread about this product. I will mention he's been extremely quick to respond to any replies and ideas, and he implements new features within hours. So, very well supported system here. And just flags on your traffic, just gives you a summary of what those are. And pfWeb Layer 7 Defense add-on, I have not used that. I don't need that. And the rest of this is some compatibility stuff. Looks like it's pfSense 2.3.2 or later. And this is the web server that is processing all this. Xeon X5650, 12 cores, 20 gigs of RAM. It's a pretty powerful system. So that's it for the setup on it. Now for what it actually does. So going in, we'll go in My Analyticals, check out my real-time view. So these are things that have not yet been processed. Every, I think, 5 minutes the new rules are processed into the system, but you can see everything that's all the rules that are passed from my system over to pfMonitor before that buffer has processed those rules into the system and compared them to the database. The scoreboard is a list of all the source IPs that have been blocked on my firewall, and the number of attacks that that my firewall has gotten from them. So we'll check out this guy. So everyone that's on this system, all of the 100+ systems that are feeding into this, there's been over 10,000 hits from this IP. You can look at the whois information on this system, and then scrolling down here, here's the ports. So on port 13053, 167 hits for me. This looks like global statistics, just for me. Maybe it is. Yeah, that's just mine. You can check out the off reports. There, I'm not running one of those. And then you can search for all the attackers in that setter range and CIDR range, and there's nothing else that's go back to the scoreboard, check out another one. This one, 155,352 hits against everybody in this network. This one has already been blocked by my firewall with Suricata before, but now I know what it is and why. I think 5 rules that I have on my Suricata had blocked this IP. So here's some notes that have been added by the administrator that tell us about what's going on here. So remote desktop RDP attack, DNC attack, brute force, extreme threat. Rumored to be related to French intelligence cyber operations. And port 22 SSH. I don't know what, someone smarter than me probably knows what all that is. But a lot of information on this attacker and lets us know what's going on there. Is that a false positive? This is obviously not a false positive. And you can do that with all these. Target summary for that same IP there. Pages are a little slow to load. I believe that the owner of this program has mentioned that he is currently optimizing it. I should have mentioned before, this is in a beta stage right now. So, global target summary for that IP. This is showing, so for earlier we saw what ports that IP had been hitting on my system. This is what the ports that it's been hitting on everyone else that is using pfMonitor system. Quite a few. Which is useful to know if you have a web server or something and have opened up ports. You may want to write rules that would use, say, the access control list that this can generate for you and block threats, known threats that would otherwise be pinging and potentially accessing your open ports. That's probably about it for the global scoreboard. Now we're to global because I transferred over there. So we'll go back to my analytics. We'll check out target summary. This is just showing me on my ports how many hits am I getting on my ports. So port 23 telnet is probably the #1 port to get hit by anything anywhere all the time, followed by SSH. And then this is a new 7547. I had not heard of this before because this is not my profession and I don't know much anything about this until I read it for the first time. So here you can see in the description, ISP backdoor web admin. This is an issue with DSL and cable modems that the ISPs were putting a backdoor on, so I guess they could manage the system. And Mirai botnet recruiter is using this. So we can click this link, and we have a link to a news article that's telling us what this is in detail, what's going on here. I thought that was a really cool feature because that's the #3 hit right after telnet and SSH on my router. So target unique IPs. This is saying on port 23, 2,357 unique IPs have attempted to or have been blocked on port 23, which is different than up here 2,699. So a lot of those unique IPs have only hit it once or twice, but there's been a couple that have probably hit it quite a few times. Overview charts. So this might be more useful for someone who is running multiple systems. To me, this is not a whole lot of information. It's just per day how many hits am I getting on my firewall, and then these are 24-hour and all-time attack totals for all of the systems you're running, but I only have one system, so it does me not really any good. But the writer of the program has mentioned that he has every intention of he's going to spool up some better charts in here, I believe. And this is probably very valuable to someone who runs multiple systems, but for someone like myself, not really. This is just the raw logs, everything, my IP, source IP, destination IP, ports, also the source ports, date and time, and then the type of traffic and the flags that were on it. That's it's just the raw log output. And the same thing, WAF raw logs, I don't use that. Authentications, so this is just who is logging into your system, reported by, and that's always going to be the same IP for me because I only have one system. And the source IP, who is trying to get into my system, and on what firewall, again, can always be the same for me, the time, and the description of what was going on. Was it a VPN login, user login? So, and I believe there is also on the dashboard failed login, so it'll generate an alert if you have a failed login attempt to your system. This is attack account. I've had 8,616 logs since the time I started using this until right now from what's been processed into the system. And if I want, I could export these logs. Now looking over at the global analytics, global scoreboard, these are mirrors of what's in my analytics, but for everyone that's using the system and all of their anonymized logs. So again, these are attack source IPs. This is the one that's the French cyber operations that we talked about earlier, is the top of the list here, and it's dramatically more hits on this than the rest of the IPs in the list. Global target summary. Takes a minute to load. Same thing, all the ports, Telnet and SSH way up there. For other users are still seeing a whole lot of hits on this 7547. It's number 4 instead of number 3 on my system, but everybody's seeing a lot of hits on that. Look at the target unique IPs. This is not likely to. So again, same thing. 607,896 unique IPs have targeted port 23 on all the systems that are using pfMonitor. And list of sensors. This is everything that is being fed into pfMonitor right now. You got a data centers in Phoenix, gigabit fiber connections, corporate sites. Montech has quite a few firewalls on here. 53 firewalls, 54 firewalls, home use, and then this is whether the system's online or not. Looks like Scott's pfSense is not online, and looks like it never has been, but you can't access this or any way or correlate this data to anyone's firewall. It just gives you a list of kind of what's feeding into the system. And global charts. This is the intent of the charts that I was showing you in my analytics that just doesn't get fully utilized by a single user or a single system or user. And this is more useful. You can see it looks like on April 1, on April Fool's Day, there were significantly more hits than any of the other days. Then you can see this is where all those, the list of sensors, they get anonymized here and they're just network something, and those will just show you what's generating, how many hits they're generating, 24 hours all time. And I'm over here in the 0% range. You got some really heavy hitter here and a lot more big systems feeding their data into this. Another way you can use this, IP search, if you have IP that is you got a firewall hit on, and you want to see what is it anything, is it false positive, is it something you need to be worried about. You search for it in here, bring it up, and yeah, there's 6 hits from Google that have popped this up. And you can also say you find something that is a actual threat that you find out information on, there's not already a note in there, then you can come in here, any user can do this, it'll show up your username, and you can type up a note for what this is so that people can identify it in the future. This is not a particularly useful note because everybody knows that's Google DNS, but you'll see stuff like this pop up on lots of different IPs, and that is very beneficial in researching whether something is a real threat or not, and whether it's a threat for your system. Anyways, that's about it. Really cool system. I really look forward to seeing where it ends up in the future, and thanks a lot to the creator.